Hello and welcome to the Golf Course Lawn Show. My name is Ron Henry and I'm here to help answer your lawn care questions. Now, if this is the first time you're joining us, welcome. Super happy to have you here. The way this works is really simple. On your screen, you will see a chat box. And in that chat box, you can enter your question, concern, comment of the day, and I work through them in the order that they come in. Now, sometimes I have the answer, sometimes I do not. But either way, we have an awesome time talking about lawn care and sometimes life. Guys, we are in the second week of July. It's crazy how fast 2025 is flying by. We're on the downhill part of the year. It's getting shorter and shorter. There's less days in 2025 than we have behind us. There's more behind us than there are in front of us, right? And it's interesting times. As always, we're going to be taking you guys' questions. So it's, we're in July. There's still plenty of time for a lot of those lawn care projects you may have as far as like doing core aeration, top dressing, those types of things. And tonight we have some pictures from folks with various lawn updates as far as that goes. So I'll be sharing all of that with you as well. Let's see here. Okay, so let's see how we can get started with our first question we have this evening. First up, we have Mr. Dan Sutton. He says, hey, Ron, I have lighter patches in my Bermuda. I sent you soil test results taken 7 weeks ago. It said low N, which I put a lot on, but the problem persists. pH is 7.3. Should I go foliar apps? Yeah, I did get your soil test results, Dan. I looked over them, and I already sent you an email back. And yeah, I mean, as far as an action plan, I would do some inputs to lower your soil pH. So using like a sulfur would be a great idea. And then I shared with you a product that you can use for foliar sprays to get a little bit of iron and also, feed the lawn directly, feed the grass directly. So what I actually shared with him was if you go to Golf Course Lawn Store, you go to Shop and Lawn Fertilizer, it's our 22-3 liquid fertilizer. So this guy right here is what I suggested to him. It has a bit of everything. Great source of nitrogen along with your micros, bit of fulvic acid, a little humic acid, so a bit of everything. A little bit, it's a good all around fertilizer for foliar feeding, which is what Dan is going to do while he's also working on getting that soil pH down using a sulfate of some kind. So hope that helps, Dan. Again, if you have any other questions, definitely let me know. Really do appreciate you taking the time to send the email and send soil test results with it, because that is helpful. And hopefully we got your lawn moving in the right direction, guys. As always, if you wanted to help support the channel, help support the show, we have a Cash App link there that you can be sure to use if you decide to do that. I've got my phone here, so if something does pop in, I'll probably get a notification and we'll be able to get you up as a show sponsor, assuming that you care about that kind of thing. All right. Next up, we have Mr. Gene DeWolf. He has a question about storing herbicides after mixing. He says, I transferred my leftover Celsius Uncertainty from my backpack sprayer to a pint spray bottle for future small spot treatments. Will the mixed herbicide lose its effectiveness over time, say 4 to 6 weeks? It's probably going to be okay in 4 to 6 weeks, Gene, but it's just not something that I would do. Like what you're doing, I have literally never done that. I mix the amount of fertilizer or the amount of herbicides that I intend to use, and I spray it and I use it up, and then I clean up my equipment when I'm done. One is just mainly so it's going to your point, it's going to be more effective if it's freshly mixed, and also just for safety reasons, right? If you have a bottle in the garage that, assuming it's not properly labeled and someone or something gets into it, it can be a problem. So for that reason, it's just not something I really recommend. If it's only going to be around for 4 to 6 weeks, then you're probably going to be fine. But again, just what I would do is in the future, I would mix less of it, mix smaller amounts, and that way you can mix and use what you use up what you mixed up. So hope that helps, sir. If you need anything else, do let me know. So guys, with as hot as it's been this year, finally, I wanted to see how well the Zoysia would take the heat, and if it's gonna, I'm gonna start seeing any heat stress, and I'm starting to see a little bit, which again, the sod's only a little over 3 months old, was put in April 2nd, and I want to show you guys some of that. So if we take a look here, I think I've got both pictures and video. Let me see if I can get this up. All right, so this is, let's do video. All right, so if you look at the front lawn, I think overall color looks great. I mean, for a lawn that's literally 3 months old, looks pretty good. But you see me there pointing at an area there that is that's a little bit of discoloration, a little bit of stress. You can probably make it out. You look, my finger's going to come in here right in a second, right there. A little bit of discoloration due to heat stress, but overall, lawn is doing quite well. I have put it on the same watering cycle that I've done with the rest of the lawn, so where it's seeing water every so Monday and Friday, so pretty much twice a week. And that might not be enough for the Zoysia, given how young it is. I may need to add another day just for the front lawn, just so it doesn't get stressed out, because it is relatively young grass, still making its way in the world. So I wanted to show you guys that. So there are some challenges. The struggle is a bit real, but I mean, if you again, if you take a look here, overall, it's doing pretty good for 3 months. 3-month-old sod. Something I've been toying with, and a lot of you guys, I mean, I don't know why I even bothered asking the question, but it was like, should I do another top dress? Because it really could use one more. And my plan was to wait until next season, but being the savages that you guys are, you're all like, no, man, go for it. You only live once, do it. So we'll see. I'll see if I can get a bag of the level mix maybe next week. We'll see. Shouldn't take that long, more than an hour or two to put it down. But yeah, that's the plan. I'm kind of leaning towards that. You guys want to see it and just give the people what they want, right? And plus, it'll just be one less thing for me to have to mess with next year, right? Because I know myself. What'll happen is if I don't do it, we'll get into the fall and I'll be like, I should have done it. I should have done one more top dress, and then it would have been perfect to start out, the 2026 season. So I think I'm leaning towards that, and you guys will be able to see again the lawn get top dressed again and how it recovers. So stay tuned for that. All right, next up is It's Me 2017. He says, I have been much better at applying liquid and granular alternating every 2 weeks, and my results, send an email, are still very low for everything. Bad testing practices. And then next up, you said, also sent you a picture of brown stripes in my lawn that showed up the last couple of mows. Not sure what's causing it. Scalping. If so, it's never looked like this before. So we'll show some pictures of the lawn that It's Me sent. So overall, front lawn, again, color looks great, man. Turf looks really nice. So that looks nice. And also, I have to say, most people would not have an issue with that. Seeing a tiny bit of washboarding, looks like near the sidewalk. But if we go to the back lawn, you can see there's some struggle. You're on the struggle bus back here. So what I would say is this, it's me. At first I thought perhaps you would just sodded it because the lines are so defined. But what you very well could be running into is what I always tell folks. Like if you are real mowing your lawn, or even if you're not real mowing your lawn, but if you're real mowing, especially, you're going to see this issue, is when we get into the hotter times of the year, when the grass really begins growing a lot more aggressively. So Bermuda really starts to take off. If you don't do something to thin it out, either a light scalp or a verticut, what you're going to find is the flow in the mower, instead of riding true, like riding on the surface, on the soil, like it did say in like April, maybe early May, what you'll find is it's going to begin floating on that layer of really thick and dense grass. And what you tend to get from that is scalping in areas that you did not have it before. And that's what that looks like. It looks like scalp marks from the mower, from what I'm seeing. If you're telling me that this is not new sod, then that's what I would lean towards. So your options are a couple of things. Option one, raise the mower up. That will help some. Raise your how to cut slightly. That will help with that. Or you can verticut or scalp the lawn, give it a reset, thin things out a bit, and then it should you should find that the mowing issues that you're having will go away. Again, all of this assumes that the mower is sharp, so it's cutting paper all the way across. Again, looking at your picture of the front lawn, the second one, if you look near the sidewalk there, it might just be me, but you can see like a little bit of washboarding there. It could be that you're just mowing mowing that part of the lawn the same way every time. I have a little bit on my swale area because I mow the swale pretty much the same pattern each time, so I tend to get a little bit there. So that could be it. But if you look at the way it's cut, it's kind of difficult to make out without having like a pointer, but you can see like areas where it's like deeper green and then lighter and then deeper green and then lighter. So that really points to the mower. It could be that things it's just aren't as sharp as it could be. It is kind of it's I don't know, it's just like taking chunks out instead of cutting a lot cleaner. So everything I've said, I'm going to put one qualifier in it, which is I'm assuming that the mower is sharp. So if you go out in the garage now or tomorrow and you take a piece of paper and run it across, print paper, and you run it across the reel on bed knife, that it is cutting all the way across. If that's not the case, you want to correct that. Like backlap it, do whatever you need to do to get the mower cutting sharp, continue to mow the lawn as is, and see if the problem improves. But if it is cutting paper, meaning it is sharp, well adjusted, then for the back lawn at least, I would say a verticut or a scalp to help just reset things. All right. Hope that helps, sir. Again, sorry you're dealing with that, but it's a very common thing. What you're dealing with is not uncommon for this time of year, especially for folks that are real mowing their lawn. All right, next up is Mr. Terrence Stamps. He says, good evening, Ron, and the golf course lawn crew. Thanks for putting up the video using Triad for Spurge. I asked that question on Facebook last week. Thanks. Yeah, man. So the video I had for Spurge is a really old one. And I was talking about like pulling it and which really isn't an effective way to really get rid of Spurge. The best way is just use a selective herbicide that's correct for your grass type to control it. So because I'd gotten that question via email a couple of times, and our customer support had also gotten that email, or that question, I said, you know what, time for a video on this, time for an updated video on it. So it was a relatively short video. Long and short of it is you want to use a good broadleaf herbicide to control Spurge this time of year for warm season turf grass, your Bermuda, your Zoysia, pretty much everything but Bahia grass. What I would use is, you knew it was coming, right? Would be Celsius. This is what I would use if you have warm season grass. Main reason is that as far as temperature restrictions, Celsius really doesn't have any. So the chances of it discoloring or you having like adverse effects in your lawn when using Celsius are much lower than using like a 3-way. For a cool season lawn, obviously you can't use Celsius, so that's where Triad Select makes a lot of sense. That is a 3-way. You just got to be careful with it. Make sure that you're not spraying it when it's going to be really much above 85 degrees, or you could see some temporary discoloration in the areas that you sprayed should you decide to go that route. So for warm season grass, Celsius. Cool season grass, Triad is what I would point you towards, or some 3-way. Your 3-way of choice. Triad just happens to be the one that we carry. So hope that helps, Terrence. Glad that you found it useful, and hopefully, and all the best of luck with getting rid of Spurge in your lawn. This time of year, it really shouldn't take much to get rid of it. With Celsius, you do want to spray on the higher rate, but I got really good results. I had some in my mulch beds. I hit it with Celsius, and it's like a week, like right at a week, it was browning up really nicely. And that video since then, they're all crispy. They're like they're pretty much dead. So Celsius did a great job, and Triad Select will also work well too. Big thing is, regardless of which one you use surfactant with it for best results. That's the only thing I would tell you, and I did call that out in the video as well. All right, next up is Mr. Andrew Phillips. He says, hello, Ron and all. Looking forward to some more turf talk. Have a good show. Thanks so much, Andrew. I really do appreciate that. So we got some videos actually some pictures I can show you guys from some folks that sent in. Like Oliver sent in, well, actually, I'm going to get Oliver's later. I'm going to show you guys first Colin's pictures of his lawn, his paspalum. Looking pretty good. Looking pretty good. Looks like you're doing well with mowing it, Colin. Coming in nicely. The back lawn is also filling in nice diagonal stripe action. Dude, I gotta tell you, you don't take pictures where the edging of your lawn is not on point. You're always Mr. Crispy Edge. You know the front lawn, look at that. That's nice and crisp, man. Nothing like a fresh, clean edge on a lawn. And, compared to what you showed us, I think a few weeks back of the front lawn, it's doing a lot better. It's looking a lot better now compared to a few weeks ago. All that temperature we're getting now is likely helping, right? Heat, when it comes to warm season grass, daylight, sunlight, and temperature covers a multitude of sins. It fixes a lot, right? So it's not surprises that your lawn is doing better. Okay, next up is Dornita Lily. She says, hey, Ron, new Bermuda sod in March. How low should I cut it, and do I need to bag when I cut? Thank you. Great question. First of all, congrats on the new Bermuda lawn. And as far as how low to cut it, it really depends on you. And I know it's kind of not a great answer, but when it truly comes to the height of cut that you want to maintain your grass, for a grass that you can cut over a relatively broad range, like Bermuda, you can cut it at half an inch, below half an inch if you want to, if you really got a lot of time to mow, and as high as 2 inches and still have it look pretty good. The things you're going to find is when choosing your height of cut, the first question is, what kind of equipment do you have? So if you're using a rotary mower, then you're going to have trouble really maintaining the lawn much lower than 1.5 inches. Maybe if the lawn is very flat, there's not any undulations, dips, you might be able to get down to around 1 inch, but for most people, 1.5 inches with a rotary mower is about as low as you can go without any kind of scalping. And what you're going to find is the lower you decide to maintain the lawn, the more frequently you have to mow it so that it doesn't turn yellow in between mowing. So if you ever seen a lawn like you mow it, and then like a couple days later, you see like little swirl marks or like yellow spots in the lawn, that's a telltale sign that you're not mowing frequently enough. That one, your equipment might not be sharp, but also more likely that you're not mowing frequently enough. This time of year with Bermuda, even if you're rotary mowing it, you really need to be mowing twice a week if you want it to look its absolute best. So once on the weekend, and then find a day in the middle of the week, Wednesday or Thursday, to get out there and mow again. And that's really going to make the lawn look really good. With everything else you're doing with fertilization, a lot of your other your pesticides, your fungicide, insecticide apps, all those things that are good to do, but mowing is really what brings it all together. And the more frequently you're able to mow it with sharp equipment in general, the better it's going to look. If you don't have a rotary mower, which I kind of doubt, you probably don't have, if you have a real mower, which I kind of doubt based on this question, then really the sky's the limit. I mean, you can go as low as, 1/2 inch or lower if you really have time, but the lower you go, the more frequently you have to mow the grass. The general guidance is that you don't want to take off more than 1/3 of the height of cut in one session. So if you think about it, when you are maintaining the lawn at 1 inch, you can take off about 1/3 of an inch between mowings and not discolor the lawn too badly. As you go lower and lower, so 0.75 inches if you're maintaining it there, it's 1/4 of an inch. 1/2 inch, it's what does that math work out to? Like 0.17 of an inch. So it gets the lower you go, the less the more frequently you have to mow, because given the time of year, as hot as it is, it doesn't take very long for Bermuda to grow, just under 2/10 of an inch. You know what I mean? So the shorter you go, the more you have to mow, the more you have to do as far as making sure your equipment is well maintained, making sure it's sharp, and your like a fungicide program starts to become important as you start going to maintain the lawn at shorter cutting heights. Now, as far as bagging your clippings, it really depends on you. Like if you're mowing regularly, like twice a week, like your clippings are not going to really materially contribute to like thatch levels in the lawn. The reason to bag your clippings are from an appearance standpoint, the lawn just looks better. You don't have like a bunch of dead material in there breaking down. So from appearance, looks better. As far as tracking clippings and dead grass into the house, you're going to have less of that. The positives, the negatives rather of bagging out your clippings is that it takes more time. You have to have somewhere to dispose of it. So that's a thing too, right? So it's either way can really work. Research will show that if you mulch your clippings, so meaning you mow regularly, but you just allow the clippings to fall back on the lawn, that's almost like getting a free fertilizer throughout the course of the season. So as far as the amount of fertilizer you have to give the lawn, you'll have to feed it less if you mulch. But so really, again, it depends on you. Do you have time to bag the clippings? Do you have time? So you have somewhere to dispose of it? And those are questions you really have to ask as far as whether to bag or not to bag. I bag my clippings. I catch all my clippings whenever I mow because it just looks better. I like the appearance. I'm vain like that. So I do that on my lawn, and I have a way to dispose of them. So there is that. And as far as my lawn this time of year, as hot as it is, I'm mowing like every other day. Mainly because I like it. I could probably get by with mowing every 2 days, but I just really enjoy mowing my lawn. So every other day I'm out there mowing. Like I mowed yesterday. I didn't mow today, so I'll mow tomorrow, Saturday. All right, so hope that helps. Again, congratulations on the new lawn. If you need anything else, let me know. But yeah, the biggest, unfortunately, the best answer to your question is it depends. But at least I gave you, some things to think about to determine which height of cut and what mowing frequency and whether to bag or not bag is for you. All right. Higgy Pop has entered the chat. He says, "Happy Friday, everyone. I have a great show, Ron. I really appreciate that." He says, hit the like button. It's free. That's true. It's a free way. Costs you absolutely nothing to support the show. So if you guys hit the like button, I really would appreciate it. We got 80 people here in the live stream, only 24 likes. This hurts my feelings. All right, Colin's up next. He says, "What's up, Ron? Hopefully your Friday has been well tuned in for a good turf talk as well as watching some baseball." Nice. Baseball's on? I did not know that. But yeah, Colin, I already showed the folks the fruits of your labor. Your lawn is looking really good, man. The color's coming in a lot better now that we're getting some temperature. So keep doing what you're doing, man. It's looking good. It's looking solid. I'm not sure if Michael. Next we got Michael Thompson. Speak of the devil. I got you right here. He says, "Evening, Ron. Sent in pictures. First mow today, and the stripes look good. Height of cut is 1 1/4 inch. So you started out, reasonably. You didn't get too aggressive to start out. I get it. Trying to get down to 0.75 inches and then top dress in a couple of weeks. Any fertilizer I should be putting down right now?" Okay, so starting out at 1 1/4 inch, no issue with that, Michael. As far as fertilizer, if it's been, how many weeks has it been? If it's been more than a month since the sod's been installed, I would begin feeding it on whatever program that you decide to go on. When it comes to how I did my Zoysia, how I took care of my Zoysia, so what you're seeing right here is it, at day 30, it got a fertilizer app just like the rest of the lawn is getting as far as Humic Max 1608. It got the same liquid program that I use, which is the Release Zero Carbon Kit and our 22-3 fertilizer and micronutrient. The only thing that it did not get that the rest of the lawn got is growth regulator. So it got a combination of granular once per month and then liquids every 2 weeks, and just no PGR on the front lawn on the Zoysia is what I would tell you. So yes, you can absolutely start doing that. And then as far as getting your height to cut down, you can do that. I'm not sure what kind of time frame you're looking to go from 1 1/4 down to 0.75 inches. I did it on my Zoysia over the course of like less than 2 weeks. So the sod that came in is likely around 2 inches thereabouts, and over the course of 2 weeks, so that's like for me 4 or 5 mows. That worked at that time of year. That worked it down to where it is now, which is 0.75 inches. And Zoysia is a lot slower to grow than Bermuda grass. It's a lot more sensitive. It's just more delicate. So, if you're Bermuda grass, I wouldn't be too concerned about stepping it down to 0.75 here soon. Pictures of his lawn, guys. Overall, you can't hate on that. That Tahoma 31 is popping. Color looks really nice. Stripe action's on point, looking good, man. And it looks good at 1 1/4 inch, Michael. You get it down to 3/4 of an inch, it's going to be that much better. I would definitely lower the height of cut. Get it down to 0.75 if you can before you top dress. It's going to be less work for you, and it's just going to look a lot better. I mean, Tahoma 31 it's going to look absolutely gorgeous at 3/4 of an inch. And you, just as far as the result you're going to get from your lawn leveling efforts, it's going to be better if the lawn is a bit shorter than where it currently is. So keep us posted. Keep us posted as far as how that goes. I mean, it looks like a fun project. Overall, it came out pretty well. I know you did a lot of prep work, couple rounds of glyphosate and fusilade to knock out the existing Bermuda, or the old Bermuda rather. And the Tahoma came in really nice, man. Color is incredible. Some might even say spectacular. Looks really good. You said also, mowing at this early stage, is it best to go with the lay or against it? The pics show the stripes going against the lay. It doesn't really matter, Michael. As long as it's rooted in, it doesn't matter. When I started mowing the Zoysia, I mowed it both. I guess if I can show a picture or show this what I'm talking about. So I mowed it both lengthwise, so along, you see the curvy sidewalk, I mowed it that way. It's like the lengthwise way of it, and then I would finish up with a diagonal cut. And the sod was laid lengthwise. It was laid like along the curvy sidewalk that you see there. So you can actually make out some of the sod lines if you look really closely. So it got mowed in a bunch of different directions. It got mowed lengthwise, diagonally this way, and then a couple times I've even mowed it diagonally in the other direction, just for good measure. So your lawn is relatively flat. I mean, it's as long as it's rooted in, which it really should be at this point. You can mow it however you want. It's really dealer's choice. You're not going to hurt anything as far as that goes. What I would tell you is mow it more frequently. The more frequently you mow it, the better it's gonna do. It's gonna help stimulate growth. It's gonna help encourage it to spread and just really thicken up. So there's no negative to mowing the lawn as much as you really want, as long as your equipment is nice and sharp. It's I think one of the biggest mistakes people make when they do a sodding project is they wait too long. Like there's a person in the neighborhood that they did Bermuda, and it was installed before my Zoysia went in. And I think just the other day when I was driving by, I saw that they mowed it for the first time, and it did not look good. I mean, it was like a really thick and puffy, and it just didn't look good. Like, I mean, mowing is like one of the best practices you can do for your lawn, for a new lawn. Like, even once there's something to mow, like once you're seeing new growth and it's rooted in, meaning when you run a mower on it, you're not gonna like drag the sod or pull it up, which for Bermuda doesn't take very long. You can get out there and you can mow it. So as soon as there's something to mow, get out there and mow the lawn. You're not gonna hurt anything. All right. And hopefully I demonstrated that with the front lawn, because it's more extreme than what a lot of you guys would be dealing with. Like, I have a slope, and it's Zoysia, so it does everything slower. And again, a week, 8-9 days in, I was out there mowing it. So it's been just fine. So don't be afraid to put a mower on it. All right, next up is John Williams. He says, "Hey Ron, thanks for the show. My iron is high and my phosphorus is high too. What FERDAP can I apply? Please help. Savannah, Georgia. Celebration, Bermuda." So I would just omit iron from your future inputs, John. That's what I would do. So if your phosphorus is high, you're going to want to use a fertilizer without phosphorus, like Humic Max. And if your iron is high, you're going to want to use a fertilizer that's not adding more iron. So I'll show you an option here. It's actually the one that I use. If you go to the Golf Course Lawn Store, if you go to our carefully curated lawn fertilizer section, go to shop and then lawn fertilizer, the first fertilizer, front and center, my personal favorite, is Humic Max. This has nitrogen, it has potassium, but no phosphorus. That checks box 1. It's got humic acid in it, which is great biostimulant, and it also has no iron in this fertilizer. So as far as a product that you can use that's not going to contribute to increasing your iron levels or increasing your phosphorus levels, this would be a great option. If you're looking for a liquid fertilizer, I would say go with Release 901C. So it's under fertilizer section 2, but this guy right here, this is a great option from the folks at Miramichi Green. Again, nitrogen, potassium, no phosphorus, and it's a great fertilizer. So those are the two that I would put you in, John. I'll send you links here in case you are so interested. But yeah, great. That's what I would do. I mean, 901C for your liquid, and then Humic Max 1608 for your granular. All right. So thanks again. I appreciate you watching the show. I'm glad you're getting some value out of it. And congrats on the celebration lawn. I know it's relatively new, so just get out there and, I say mow it. Make sure your equipment's nice and sharp and get out there and mow that lawn. It will thank you for it. Well, thank you for it. You know, a lot of you guys will be surprised. Like I got a lot of how can I say it? A lot of experts on the internet, you know, in the comments reached out or not reached out, but they said, you know, you shouldn't start real mowing your zoysia yet. It's too soon. You need to kind of let it ride for a season. You shouldn't like take it down too low. You know, let it kind of sit and find its way in the world. It's too soon to start really real mowing it or really changing, doing height of cut changes. So I give you exhibit doing it completely wrong. All right. So this shows you that, I mean, you want to be sensible with your program that you run on a relatively new lawn, but I mean, there's really like mowing is not something you really should not do a lot of if you can. All right. Because a big part of it is of why the zoysia looks the way it looks now. Sure, it's got a good nutrient program, but really the fact that it just gets mowed a lot is really what's helped contribute to this. The top dressing helped as well too, but regular mowing, you really can't discount like the effect that it can have on really stimulating fresh growth and just creating a gorgeous stand of turf grass. All right. Next up, we have OG. He says, hey, Ron, I put down, I think you're saying Headway G in May. Okay. Sounds like a plan. I'm not sure if there's a follow-up there, but yeah. If as far as like a preventative fungicide program, I'm a fan of doing that in May and June. So if you did it in May, sounds good to me. All right, next up is Two Gun Master, huh? He says, so I have soil that is loaded with clay. I core aerated not once, but twice this season. I also plugged Bermuda in areas about 3 weeks ago. The plugs still seem to be alive, but not spreading. Ideas? Just time. Just give it time, Two Gun Master. What I'd say is, you know, this time of year, it's plenty hot and there's a lot of sunlight, I'm assuming, like where you have the plugs in. And if those two things are true, meaning the area where you put the plugs in is getting plenty of direct sunlight, and it's, you know, with all the temperature we're getting, it really should root in and begin spreading, you know, fairly aggressively. Now, the fact that you had to transfer plugs into an area might be that that area maybe had some shade, or maybe that it's a bit thin for other reasons. Now, if whatever was causing that area to be thin has not been corrected, shade is often a culprit, then you're going to be on the struggle bus. Like, I mean, yeah, putting the plugs in there is going to, I mean, it'll help, but I mean, it's going to take a while for it to fill in, assuming it does at all. Again, a lot of this rides on that you corrected whatever that was causing that area to be thin in the first place. So core aeration, great. I like that. You know, I may have also done, if it were me, maybe a top dress, even if you're not doing like a sand product, even like adding some rich organic material, some compost would have been good to do right after the aeration. But it sounds like to me you're on the right track. Just give it some time. All right. So hope that helps, sir. If you need anything else, let me know. But without more context as far as like why there are some areas that just even needed to be plugged in the first place, it's hard to give you some more direct advice. But just kind of reading through the lines, I mean, if you're plugging apart an area of the lawn, it's struggling for a reason. So as long as you fixed whatever was causing it to struggle, it's just a waiting game. All right. All right. Next up is Nico. Is there a difference in top dressing with Carbon Pro G versus compost before overseeding? Yes, there is, because while either option will work, compost is just that. It's hopefully screen compost is just organic material. Whereas Carbon Pro G is compost, but it's also biochar. So like Carbon Pro G, carbonized PNG, they are compost and biochar products. The beautiful thing about those products is not so much the compost part of it, it's the biochar that you're also adding to the soil profile, because that really helps with nutrient holding, helps with water, also the moisture holding capacity of the soil. So that's really why you would use a biostimulant like Carbon Pro G or carbonized PNG versus just a straight compost. Now, if you can't get it in your area, well, carbonized PNG, there's really no excuse for me to ship it to you. But if maybe for budget reasons, you just want to go with compost, it's better than not doing anything, but these two things are not the same. So a compost, just a straight compost product that you get from your garden store versus a blended product that is, you know, part biochar, part compost, and also has like a microbial package like carbonized PNG, it's a different class of product. So hope that helps, Nico. I would get your hands on some if you can, and I'll actually show you. So if you're actually doing a seeding project, and if you want to go out and use carbonized PNG, you absolutely could do that. But if you've got quite a bit of bare area, what I might do is instead of carbonized PNG, and if you've got a way to easily spread it, is go with carbonized PN. Carbonized PN is essentially like the soil version of carbonized PNG without the microbial package. And as far as a great product for just spreading on a preparing a surface that you're going to overseed, this is great stuff. So you can see there, like what I was talking about as far as, Mariucci's branding of their biochar product, the Carbo Matrix. All those little pores help hold on to micronutrient and moisture. And you can see how it goes down. So you can just work it in with a leveling rake. So it does take a bit more work to move this into the soil than, say, a granular product like Carbon Pro G or carbonized PNG. But it's the results are kind of speak for themselves. Helps drive healthy roots. Just tons of benefits to it. And I would absolutely use either carbonized PN or carbonized PNG as part of your seeding project. All right. So hope that helps explain the differences between just a regular compost, which again, nothing wrong with that, or a more premium product like carbonized PNG. All right, next up is Nick Wren. This is a good question. I like this. He says, how has your lawn routine changed since you started? Are there things you use that you no longer do? Also, are there new products or practices that you're interested in testing? Great question, Nick. This is a good one. Okay, so how's my routine changed? Before, if you go back to my content like years and years ago, when I started real mowing, I was always mulching clippings. So that's probably a pretty big change. I'd say that the biggest change that's happened since from like a mowing or cultivation practice standpoint is I bag my clippings. That's something I started 3 years ago, like pretty religiously when I got the Allet. And then I also started introducing verticutting and turf raking to my program, and it's really made a huge difference in the lawn. Like if you look at the way the lawn looks now, which I think is really good compared to how it looked 5 or 6 years ago, there's a noticeable difference. Now, as far as things that I used to do that I don't do, products have changed for sure. Like I used to use a product called Brent Supreme Green. Don't use that anymore. Really, it's kind of hard to come by. I used to use like Milo and a lot of things that other people were using. And I've shifted more towards more premium products from Lebanon, products that have a blend of like your nutrients, like your NPK, but as well as a biostimulant component. If you look at like pretty much all the granular products that we sell, you're not going to find just a straight fertilizer, right? Like all of our products either have some humic acid in them, some kelp in them. So you're working on both ends of the spectrum. So you're giving the soil, the plant, the nutrient that it needs, but you're also helping to improve the engine of the soil, which is what really drives everything and makes it work. So that's a big part of, I'd say, from a nutrient standpoint, that's changed. Other practices. I'm trying to think of what else I've done in the past that I would not recommend now. Yeah, so whenever I had an area that was like a tree was removed, and I was trying to correct the fact that that the sod that was put in didn't match, I overseeded that area of the lawn with the Bermuda grass seed. I don't recommend that for people anymore, mainly because you really don't want to introduce other cultivars of Bermuda to Bermuda because you can't get rid of them. Most of the time, they do not match. I got fairly lucky in the sense that I did Princess 77 and Arden 15, both of which are discontinued, and they blend really well with 419. Neither of them you can't get either of them anymore. And really, it's not the correct way to fix a bare area in a lawn. Really, your options are either use sod that's the correct sod that will match your existing grass, or to plug the area. Like those are the correct ways to fix bare spots in a Bermuda lawn. So that's something that I've done in the past that I would not recommend. I really wouldn't recommend these days. It's been many years ago since I've done that, but again, that's something you asked about things that I've done that I would not do now. Other practices that I'm interested in testing. No, not really. Nothing really comes to mind at this point. Like I'm pretty happy with the program as it is. Between like a lot of the cultivation work, like the regular mowing and the verticutting, and then the nutrient program. I'm pretty happy with where things are. So there's not a whole lot else that I'd really want to do. I mean, I say this, if I could get my hands on a Pro Core, like a Toro Pro Core, that would be nice. Like being able to pull deeper plugs than what you can get from a aerator that you can like rent from the big box stores, or like a lawn equipment supply store. Like that would be nice. But I mean, I'm not buying a Pro Core, and even if I got one, like it'd be something I'd rent. I don't have anywhere to store something like that. But that would be something that I would like to run on the lawn. Maybe next season if I can find somewhere around here that has someone that has one, and that would be open to running it on my lawn. So hope that helps, Nick. I mean, not a ton to change. I mean, as I've gotten better, just to learn more, my the program has gotten better, like anything else, right? Also, as I've taken courses and just gotten more instruction, gotten feedback from a lot of people in the industry, and just have slowly over time just refined. I wouldn't say I've made any like major shifts, but just refined the program over several years. And again, I really like where it is now. So good question, man. I haven't had that one. So thanks so much for that. Hopefully it was helpful for you. And you'll find the same thing. Like, you will find out what your lawn likes. I always tell folks, like, what I do on my lawn, not necessarily for everyone. I mean, it's not an inexpensive way to take care of your lawn. It produces spectacular results, but it's not cheap. And it's not the only way to get a good looking lawn. So there's other ways of doing it as well too. This is just my way of doing it. And again, I always say folks from Washington to Florida get really good results with it. And if it resonates with you, then go for it. If it doesn't resonate with you, do something that resonates with you. And just, I'd say the biggest thing is whatever program you decide to run on your lawn, just be consistent, stick with it. Like, don't like change from one to the other. Like 1 week it's this, next week it's the other. A month later it's something else. Like, pick a program and stick with that program, and then that's going to allow you to identify gaps in it, and that will give you the option that if you said, okay, well, I didn't really like how maybe the color wasn't as good, or I got too much growth, so I was feeding it too much. You're not going to know that unless you are sticking with something that's consistent, and then you can make tweaks, either throughout the year or the following season whenever you decide to make adjustments to it, or you can just follow the golf course lawn program, and then all the guesswork is done for you. There's also that, right? All right, next up is John Williams. He says, what is a good way to spread carbonized PN? I love this stuff. Do you know what this stuff would impact as far as a soil test if I apply it a bit heavy? Thanks. So as far as spreading it, the easiest way as far as carbonized PN, John, is I showed there a second on the store, is using a leveling rate, because carbonized PN basically is soil. It's a soil like in texture. So it's not going to be able to be spread with like your broadcast spreader. If you have something like an Eco or like a top dressing machine that can actually throw it, then that's going to work okay. But as far as not having that, you're just going to, you're going to do what I did here. You're going to see I kind of like create a nice big S pattern on the lawn, and then break out the leveling rake and level it off, move it in, work it in. That's how I did it. And it, you can see the finished result. The entire lawn was top dressed with carbonized PN, and it just was a leveling rake. I didn't use any other equipment other than a leveling rake to accomplish what you see there. And as far as what it would impact in your soil test, you really shouldn't, as far as like negative, nothing really that I can think of. I don't think that really is going to come to mind. There's no fertilizer in it, so it's not going to negatively impact your macro levels. So like your NPK, those should be good. I'm trying to think. No, nothing really comes to mind as far as what it would do. What you might see, the one thing you might see is a slight change in pH, but as far as your macros or micronutrient levels measured, there's not going to really be a change with going heavier on carbonized PN. To give you an example, when I did the front lawn, like one time I did I wanted to test it to exactly what you're talking about. And if you look here, like what you see, the finished product, if you look at the number of bags that I used on that, because I just wanted to, I wanted to see for myself, this wasn't even all of it. I think I used like 20 bags or something like that. So quite a bit, like as far as heavy, much heavier than any of you guys are likely ever going to use that product. So you figure it's like 20 bags over 2,500 square feet, thereabouts. So very heavy, like a quarter of an inch of material. Like, in other words, it was close to approaching like a cubic yard of material, so quite a bit of material as far as carbonized PN, and it was just fine. You can see the finished result, and there was really no adverse effects other than my wallet. Other than my wallet, nothing else was nothing bad happened. All right. Okay, next up is Austin T. He says, what would you use if you didn't have access to a verticutter? I see multiple types of hand tools for raking or dethatching, but I don't know what's best. Yeah, if I didn't have access to a powered verticutter, Austin, I would get like a Sunjo, or there's other, I think Earthwise also makes one. It's like the little plug-in or the battery powered turf raking or lawn raking tools. Like you can buy them for not that much. I think they're under $200 if you get on Amazon and look for one. Let me see if I can find. If I can find here, and I can show you. Sunjo Dethatcher. Yeah, what do they go for now? Yeah, $167 is what they go for. So something like this would not be a bad option to consider. It looks like Ego's got one, or no, well, I guess Ego powered, or maybe Ego bought Sunjo. I don't know. At any rate, a lot of folks use this for both verticutting and also turf raking, and they get pretty good results with it. So yeah, that can work. I would do that before I went out and like manually tried to do it. Like that's a lot of work to manually detach the lawn or manually verticut it. So that's what I would go with. If you're interested in taking a look at one, you can do so there, and hopefully that helps. Okay, next up is Antoine Clacken. Mr. Antoine Clacken. He says, happy Friday, lawn lovers. It's been a super hot and humid. Hope everyone is well. Don't forget to hit that like button. Yeah, guys, definitely do that. We got 80 pokes in the live stream, 56 likes. We are trending in the right direction, but it's still not where we need to be. So let's get those likes up if you guys can. Costs absolutely nothing. It's a great way to support the channel. All right. Next up, we have Risher HVAC. He says, thanks for all the advice. As always, Ron, wishing you a great weekend. Stay cool. I will do my best, man. Do my best. And then DB559 chiming in from Instagram says, I swear, Celsius takes forever to finally kill. I wouldn't say forever. This time of year, it's definitely faster than in the spring. But remember, both Celsius and its, I don't have a bottle of it here. Yeah, I do. Celsius and its sidekick, like Certainty, have a really cool party trick in that you can apply them this time of year. And as far as very effective herbicides that are quite unlikely to discolor or damage your lawn, it's really tough to beat Celsius or Certainty. So the good thing is they control a lot of weeds. They're very good at doing that. The downside, something you've highlighted, is that they can be a bit slower to work than, say, something like Speed Zone or Dismiss, or if you really like to live dangerously, you just don't care. Something like something like glyphosate, you could use that and you're going to see results really quickly, but you're also going to damage your lawn in the process, right? So on the spectrum of herbicides that are effective, Celsius and Certainty, in my opinion, like top notch. They are effective at controlling the weeds that they're labeled to control. They just can take a little bit longer. This time of year, though, really not so much. Like in my case, again, I sprayed Spurge. A week later, it was visibly, you could see the Spurge was dying off really nicely. So you have to kind of pick your poison. If you want great control, you want the weeds gone, but not killing your grass, patience is going to be a requirement for you. All right. We also got a Cash App. This one is from Mr. Michael Thompson. Thank you so much. He says, thank you for the great info. You're very welcome, sir. So let me get you up here. Put some respect on your name. Michael, I'm really happy with how that came out, man. I know that you as far as viewers that I've had that have gone from one type of Bermuda to another type, I want to say you're the first that comes to mind. So it's kind of cool to see that you got a really good result with it, and you did as good a job as you could getting rid of the existing lawn, and overall the results kind of speak for themselves. So there you go, sir. Your name in lights, for whatever it means to you. Really do appreciate it. Really do appreciate it. All right. And next up is Two Gun Masters. I saw a video today that says liquid aeration is a scam. There's no scientific evidence to prove otherwise. Do you think it's a scam? I don't know that it's a scam as much as, okay, so the idea behind liquid aeration, right, is that you will apply these products. They're going to help stimulate microbial activity, and it's going to help and the microbes are going to help break down some organic material. They're going to help dethatch the lawn. They're going to help improve, I guess in some ways, improve the infiltration of air and water into the soil profile. Can they do that? Sure. On the timeline that the products suggest, in my opinion, no. So if you were going to, if you think about it from a standpoint of like a liquid aeration or liquid dethatching product, like any of the biostimulants that we carry from Miramichi Green would be considered that. Like any of the release products, any kind of a kelp product, all of those are going to help stimulate microbial activity. Humic acid can help stimulate microbial activity, but it's not a effective way in the timeline that most people would want to relieve compaction or to dethatch a lawn. Like the best way to relieve compaction, to aerate your lawn, is to actually aerate it. Like get a mechanical core aerator, run that over the lawn, multiple passes, and you will be able to physically feel it. Like you go walk on a lawn that's compacted, and then go out and either you aerate it or have someone aerate it for you, and then walk on it afterwards. And you can literally feel the soil kind of moving underneath your feet because you're creating, if you think about the physics of it, you're removing all these voids, all these little plugs throughout the soil profile, right? So you're creating all this space for the soil that was really compacted to kind of relax, to kind of move into those voids, which you can feel it when you walk on the lawn. As far as helping to fast track air, water, nutrients in the soil profile, nothing beats an actual hole in the soil for doing that. So is it, would I go so far as to saying that it's a scam? I don't, I mean, that might be a bit harsh, but they certainly don't work in the time frame that people, I think, are expecting or that they're marketed to work. If it were me, if you want to aerate your lawn, either you go do it yourself or hire a service to do it. You're gonna be much happier with the results. If you want to dethatch your lawn, like mechanically do it, get like a Sun Joe, get out there and do that yourself, or hire a service to do it. You will see results much faster versus just relying on the liquid products. Now, are they better than not doing anything? Yeah, I guess, but I mean, I wouldn't. Again, it's not something that I would like. I may eat my words one day. Someday there might be something that's incredible that actually does what they say it does, but it's not something that we carry or sell on the golf course lawn store for that reason. I just don't really believe in them. I think that if you want to aerate your lawn, you need to aerate it. And this is kind of proven out too from a standpoint, right? Like in my opinion aside, because everyone's got opinions, right? Opinions are like, anyway, I'm not going to finish that. Anyway, everyone has an opinion. But what you can do is look at what people who get paid to take care of turf grass do. Like their entire livelihood is based on growing the healthiest stand of turf grass, minimizing injury as much as possible. Because remember, this turf is like on a golf course or on a sports field is a moneymaker, right? Like they can't have it messed up, they can't have it destroyed, they can't have it out of service any longer than they have to. Like they literally make money with this turf, so they want to minimize downtime as much as possible. And look at what they do on the greens. While they may go out and they may use various liquid products, they core aerate the greens, right? They go out and they punch the greens, they pull cores, and then they'll top dress afterwards. So if you think about it, folks that have much bigger budgets for taking care of turf grass than what we do, if liquid aeration products were as effective, that is what they would use, because there would be literally no downside to it, right? You'd be able to go out and spray the lawn, and all the compaction would be gone, and you'd be able to, members would be able to go out there the next day and play without issue. But the fact is, it's just not as good. It just isn't. So yeah, that's my thoughts on liquid aeration products. I know there's a lot of people that carry them, they like them, and again, it's just my opinion. And again, if you want to agree with me, you can. You want to disagree with me, you can. Scam, I think, is a bit harsh, but they definitely do not do what they are, in my opinion, what they are labeled to do within the time frame that most people would expect. You know what I mean? The way they're kind of build is that you could put them out, and I don't know, a week or 2, 3 weeks from then, you're going to notice, that it's going to help relieve compaction. It's going to help improve air, water, and nutrient infiltration into the soil, and just simply not the case. Just aerate your lawn is what I would tell you. Pay someone to do it if you don't want to do it yourself. All right. Hope that helps too, Gun Master. Next up is John Williams. He says, I purchased a Revolution 20 6-blade, and I can't wait to mow with it. First of all, before we go any further, we're going to have to, where's my soundboard? We got to clap it up, give you some dap for that. Congrats on the new equipment. He says, what grit backlap pace should I use, and how often should I backlap? If you get this wrong, the universe will absolutely end, John. It doesn't really matter, man. I've used, I think Real Rollers offers an 80 grit and 120 grit. On my Greensmaster, I go with the 120 grit. seems to work pretty well for me. And as far as how often to backlap it is whenever it stops cutting paper all the way across. And so here's my my process for that. So I will get my paper, a sheet of printer paper out, go across the reel and bed knife, and it's like cutting paper, cutting paper, cutting paper, not cutting paper. I'm like, this is not good. So then I will go in on the reel to bed bar adjustment. I'll go in like 1 click, 2 clicks, check, still not cutting paper. And I'm listening to the contact between the reel and the bed knife, and I'm like, that's getting a bit heavier than I would like. So in that case, what I will do is I'll backlap it, right? I don't just keep cranking in or closing up the tolerances tighter and tighter and tighter, because you can do that and you can eventually get it to do it, to cut paper, but you're causing, you're putting a lot of heat into the reel and bed knife. You're causing more unnecessary wear, because it really should be just very light contact. It should be almost like whisper quiet, very light contact. So if after making a small adjustment, in my case, what I do is like 2 clicks, two clicks on the detent. If it's still not cutting paper after that, is when I'll go out there and backlap it. And literally with 120 grit, it takes a minute and a half, 2 minutes if I'm really slow to do it. I mean, I literally will, connect the drill, start it up, run backlapping pace on it, let it run, listen to it, it gets quiet, do it again, gets quiet, do it a third time. And particularly in the area that it was not cutting paper, I make sure I go a little bit heavier there in that area to make sure that it's really getting lapped well. And then once it's done, I rinse it off, make sure I run it, clear all the paste off of it, and then let the reel dry, check it, cutting paper, good to go, let's go mow. That's what I do. So if you can make some small adjustments that are not causing a heavy contact between the reel and bed knife, then that's what you do first. And if it's still not cutting paper after that, that's when you backlap it. So in most cases, if you really want to maintain it really sharp, a couple times a month is what you might find. It really depends on you, John. It depends on how often you're mowing, how disciplined you are about not running over anything else other than just grass. With my mower, I backlap probably more frequently than others, because whenever I cut the swale area, and it's kind of hard to if I can demonstrate. Like if you take, how can I demonstrate this? If you take, imagine like this is like the swale, right? So you imagine there's grass growing. We'll do it like this. So imagine there's grass growing here, and there's like the other part of the swale is like right here, right? And water runs and drains through this. So whenever I'm mowing along here, the right edge of the mower, it tends to cut a little bit deeper, and occasionally I can get a little bit of I don't want to say soil, but because I'm kind of getting into this part of the swale. So my mower, the edges of it tend to eat dirt probably more often than other people's mowers, which is why I tend to have to backlap more frequently, because when I do, it's always the edges. It's never like the middle. I mean, I could probably not backlap the middle all season long. It's typically the edges where I will lose. It'll stop cutting paper sooner than anywhere else. So just use it as a guide as far as how frequently to do it. Make your adjustment first. If after you make your adjustment, it's still not doing it, backlap. And as far as your choice, 80 or 120 grit, either one will work well. I ran out of 80 grit, which is why I went to 120, and that's what I'm running on my mower until I run out of that, and then who knows, maybe I'll go back to 80. But 120 grit works well for me, so I might just stick with that. All right. Again, congrats on the mower. Use it and mow in good health. All right, Justin King's up next. He says, I need a break in the rain to apply liquid fert and PGR. You don't need that much time, Justin. 4 hours. 4 hours or so. You get like a little dry patch there. You get up there and get it done. But I hear you, if it's raining like nonstop, then yes, that's not going to work. But it doesn't really help. Let's see here. Louis P86 says, a content creator claims a few rounds of Celsius will get rid of Dallisgrass. Is there any truth to this claim? Thanks for all you do. I've never seen that, Louis. I've never seen Celsius effectively get rid of Dallisgrass. And you know what? We can look here, and again, not everything that Celsius controls a lot of weeds, and maybe all the weeds it's able to control, or that it can control may not necessarily be on the label. But I can pretty much assure you that if Dallisgrass were a weed that Celsius was effective at controlling, there is no way that Bear/Enview would not do that. Now, there is some guidance for controlling Dallisgrass, and there's some mention of it on the label. So I can pump this up a little bit. Oh, is this gonna work? Hang on, I need my trackpad to move over so you guys will be able to see this. All right. So for Dallisgrass control, there is mention of controlling Dallisgrass using Celsius on the label. However, not by itself. If you look here, it says Dallisgrass control. This product in combination with Revolver and an MSO. It can be applied as a spot treatment to suppress and or control Dallisgrass. It's really not going to get rid of it. The key word there is it's suppress, and it's not by itself. So you have to mix Revolver with it, spray at higher rates, use a methylated seed oil along with it, and you're probably just going to get some suppression. So as far as Celsius being by itself being effective for controlling Dallisgrass, I'm going to say no. I'm going to say no. And the label kind of calls that out, that by itself not really going to be effective. So yeah, I mean, then again, the content creators, I mean, if it's on the internet, it's got to be true, right? I don't know. If someone has applied round after round after round after round after round, maybe they can get the Dallisgrass to discolor a little bit. Maybe you can like make it hate life a bit. But as far as like truly controlling it, like how Celsius controls Spurge and how it controls like other broadleaf weeds, it by itself is not likely to be effective for doing that. And the label calls that out. Like a lot of times when you'll see products for controlling Dallisgrass, they'll say, yeah, you know, our product will control Dallisgrass when mixed with MSMA, right? Which you're not supposed to use on residential lawns anymore. So it's always like this product when mixed with this other herbicide that either is not labeled for use on residential lawns or is, you know, super expensive and you have to be super careful with using it. Then you can control Dallisgrass. So if you have a residential lawn, your best bet is really just to dig it out. I mean, that's what I would tell you. You can play with different concoctions, but Dallisgrass is a really stubborn weed. You're probably going to have less frustration, cause less damage to your lawn, and your wallet will like you more if you just dig it out. All right. Hope that helps, Lewis. Okay, next up is Mario Valencia. He says, I have dollar spots on my Bermuda. What can I use that doesn't break the bank? So while you might see some dollar spot in the early morning, Mario, if your Bermuda lawn is getting enough nitrogen, dollar spot normally doesn't materialize into anything on Bermuda. So it is something you can see as far as like seeing the mycelium, seeing the little spider webs on the lawn early in the morning. But as far as it actually causing damage for a Bermuda lawn that is seeing enough nitrogen, so 0.7 of a pound of nitrogen up to a pound of nitrogen every month when it's actively growing, it usually doesn't turn into a whole lot. So what I would tell you is probably just do nothing. If you really want to treat it, what you can go with is a fungicide like propiconazole. Propiconazole would be a good option. So I'll show you some options that we have. If you go to the Golf Course Lawn Store, go to Shop and Fungicide Insecticide. Under there, we have two options that we really carry that will control dollar spot. So Pillar SC has pyroclastrostrobin in it and triticonazole, and Headway is propiconazole and azoxystrobin. So either one of these have a fungicide in them that will control dollar spot. Again, in most Bermuda lawns, though, it doesn't really turn into anything if you are feeding it. So these are two options. I'll send you a link to where you can take a look at them in your free time, and that would be the way to go. All right. So hope that helps. All right, next up is Collins. I'm not sure when the last time I sent pictures of the lawn or the front were. Hasn't been picture worthy until now. You're kind of just hiding it. You know, I got a front lawn, but we don't talk about the front lawn. It's not where it needs to be right now. Because I appreciate it, Ron. We like crispy edges over here. I like it, man. I get it. I get it, man. And it does look good. It does look good. His Chisor Paspalum. You know, we also got, if you guys want to see, we're talking about, challenges in a lawn. Sometimes, I'm not sure if he's on the live stream or not, if Oliver's here, but sometimes you can do a lot of things right. You can really work hard. You can do all the things. And sometimes it's not just you have to fight against. Sometimes it's not just Mother Nature, not just the disease and too much water and those types of problems. Sometimes it's actually people that are a problem in your lawn as well. So Oliver, it looks like he was doing some top dressing. He sent me some videos, a couple of videos of someone just having his lawn being done dirty. He was living that Amazon life. So if you look here, look at the F-150 in the background. So here's the thing, before we go any further, if you look at that driveway, it looks relatively straight to me. If you're backing out, I don't know again, maybe there's something that's outside of frame that I don't see, but I don't understand if you're just pulling out of that driveway, why you would not just simply back off the driveway. However, that's not what this person does. If we watch and look at exhibit, I can't believe this is actually happening to my freshly top dressed lawn. So we go front, back, and nope, we're not done yet. Gotta go forward, and back, and drive over the man's fresh top dressing. Look at that. I mean, there's no car back there that I could see. So I understand why they did them like that. Not cool. But wait, there's more. Second picture. This person, I assume, was either on their phone or setting up maybe navigation or just in the radio or I don't know, something. But they weren't paying attention to where they were going. So his lawn just freshly top dressed, right? You know, looking his best life. It's finally growing through. He survived the F-150. Nope. So the CRV strikes. And again, you see it's a pretty broad driveway. I don't, you know, here's the thing, Oliver. When I saw it, it almost looked hate crimey. I'm being real with you. I'm being real. It looks like it was intentional, because if we look here, we'll watch the video again. I don't want to jump to conclusions. We watch the video again. There's clearly enough driveway, and the person veers to the right. They turn more into the lawn to almost drive over it, and then make a left-hand turn and be like, deuces, I'm out. Enjoy that. You know, I mean, we watch it one more time. I mean, you guys tell me what you think. It looks intentional to me. I mean, they were good. They were on pavement. Nope. We're going to turn right, only to turn left. So you know what you could say? If they had turned right and just kept going right, accident. Misjudged the curb. Who hasn't done it? We've all done that, right? But the fact that there was a right-hand turn, there was like a flick, like a Scandinavian flick that kind of went in right and then flicked it back left to go to the left. It's hard. You know, a jury of his peers or his or her peers would have a hard time not saying that that was an intentional act, right? I think so. I think it was intentional, but you guys can let me know what you think. But Oliver, thank you for sending us that. We are apologizing. We're sorry to hear that your lawn is being being devastated like that. Again, just freshly top dressed at that. You go through leveling it, and then someone goes and puts a rut in it. Not nice. Not nice. All right, next up is Eric Muteb. He says, thank you for all your help. Because of your help, I'm able to start a lawn treatment company. That's cool, man. That's awesome. Congrats on this. Starting a business up, that's really cool. I'm glad that it was, that the content has been helpful for you. All right. Michael Kuhn is up next. He says, happy Friday, good sir. So it's been over a month now. You've had your Zoysia put in. You know, it's funny, like a month. It's been like 3 months, man. Just shows whenever you think, you know, that people get tired of your updates, like no one's even watching, because it's been like 3 months, not just 1 month. He says, now that it's been a month since your Zoysia's been put in, would you give your positives and negatives of both Bermuda and Zoysia? It's a great question. So Zoysia, absolutely gorgeous. I mean, I get what the hype is about. As far as color, it's a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful grass. Beautiful, beautiful grass. Now, another thing that I didn't expect, now both Zoysia and Bermuda, both warm season grasses, both can tolerate plenty of heat and don't require a ton of water to still do well. However, the Zoysia is doing a better job maintaining its color given the same watering program than the Bermuda is. So that's something I noticed. Which is kind of interesting, right? Because that sod is only 3 months old. It doesn't really have deep roots yet. But even with that, it's just holding its color better than my Bermuda is, which is kind of interesting. And again, I get why people like it, because this is something I didn't really expect. I thought this time of year I'd be struggling and be hating life. And outside of one little spot there, you can see that I point at, seeing a little heat stress. Overall, man, the color looks great. You know what I mean? So that's probably the biggest unexpected thing that I saw with Zoysia that I did not, that just was really anticipating. It's a lot slower to grow horizontally as far as to spread than Bermuda. So as far as top growth, it is slower, but it's not that much slower. As far as spreading and filling in, that is noticeably slower than Bermuda. So if you damage a Zoysia lawn and you've got like a bare spot, it's going to take much noticeably longer to fill in than Bermuda does. So that's a thing I would say. But yeah, other than that, I like it. I enjoy having both of them. They're both gorgeous. And Zoysia, again, just so far seems to be holding its color, given the same water, a bit better than Bermuda. All right. Next up is it's me. He says, from my earlier comment, my reels are indeed sharp and at 0.6 inches. Not sure I can scalp any lower. So perhaps try raising the height of cut. It's me is what I would tell you. So if you can't do something to thin the lawn out, like verticutting, then just bump the height of cut up a little bit, and that should get rid of the scalping, the cutting issue you're having in the back lawn. The front lawn looks pretty good, but the back lawn looks like it's just either. Here's what you can try first. Before you raise the height of cut, increase your mowing frequency. Try mowing more frequently and see if it looks better. That's gonna be kind of a pain if you're mowing the back lawn on one site, on one cadence, and the front lawn on a different one, but you can try that if you really don't wanna raise the height of cut. But if after doing that for a week or two, it's still not improving, then raise the height of cut. Go from like 0.6 to 3/4 of an inch, and you should see some improvement. All right, next up is Kevin Deucezik. He says, what's up, Ron? Your videos having a sloped lawn was great and fills a niche for other folk like myself who have a sloped lawn and need the great info you provide. I am glad that it is helpful, Kevin. Thank you so much for watching. And a sloped lawn, I've tried it multiple different ways. In my opinion, this is, the best way to mow a sloped lawn that produces results that don't result in scalping. A nice even cut is diagonally, what you're seeing there. You can mow it lengthwise, but you tend to get this terracing effect, whereas if you mow it diagonally, the mower tends to ride flatter, truer on the lawn if you go that route. So instead of mowing straight up and down is the worst way. Mowing lengthwise, I can demonstrate it. So straight up and down, like this is your lawn, going up and down like this, absolute worst, don't do that. Like going uphill is going to cut lower, going downhill is going to cut taller. From a safety standpoint, just not a good idea as well, going up and down, straight up and down a slope with a mower. And going lengthwise, better than going up and down, but the best way is to cut the pie. Just go diagonally, in my opinion. All right. The Robert Rainey, that man has entered the chat. That guy's entered. He says, good evening, everyone. What's going on, Robert? Hopefully you're doing well, sir. Thanks for coming by to say hello. And then Diamond is up next. Is hey, Ron, just can't stay long, just showing the love. I appreciate that, Diamond. Thank you so much for stopping by and saying hello. DJ Rockefeller has a question. He says, hey, Ron, I applied 2406 granular on 7/1, so July 1st. Can I apply 7020 to help with the heat stress this weekend? Would I burn my lawn? You're not going to burn your lawn, but I wouldn't. I mean, it's only be the 12th. Yeah, I mean, you've already applied a fairly, a higher nitrogen fertilizer. So I wouldn't. If you wanted to do something to help the lawn with heat stress, if you just can find like a pure kelp product, that I would do. If you wanted to use like a moisture manager, like that is something I would do. But as far as putting out more nitrogen, not something personally that I would do, given that you just like talking about like a little over a week ago, you put out 24% nitrogen product on the lawn. I personally would not do that. So a kelp product, yes. Something like NutriKelp that we carry, great option. Or if you want to use something else, that's fine. Something with just kelp in it, and then a moisture manager like Hydrotain Foreplay or something along those lines. Like that's what I would do if it were me this time of year. It's not going to burn your lawn if you put this at 7020 down, but what you are going to get is like a lot more growth, right? You're throwing a lot of nitrogen at it, which is going to fuel a lot of growth, and that's how you start having thatch issues, cutting problems. In more extreme cases, it can create conditions where disease can be more of an issue. So a whole bunch of negatives to doing it. So which is why I just wouldn't do that. All right. Next up is Mr. 600RR. He says, applied recognition and Fusilade July 4th to control Bermuda my Zoysia per your suggestions, hoping for the best. Yeah, so it's July 4th, so a week today. Yeah, you're good. Just give it time. Give it time, but yeah, recognition and Fusilade is the truth. So what he's talking about is this concoction made by the mad scientists at Syngenta. So before controlling Bermuda grass in Zoysia, there was not an easy way to do that without injuring the Zoysia. But now you can use recognition. This is the small little baby bottle, 0.45 ounces of it. So you can use recognition paired with Fusilade 2, and it does a great job removing Bermuda grass out of Zoysia without really damaging the Zoysia. I've already done it on my lawn. It's a relatively young, new lawn, and it's had a couple of rounds of it, and it's worked great. So yeah, great product. Recognition and Fusilade. You know what? It's like, you know what it is? It's like the Celsius certainty of removing Bermuda grass out of Zoysia. That's what it's really that good. Like as far as a concoction you can spray on a lawn, on a Zoysia lawn, and that will, like, the Bermuda will die off. Will absolutely be hating life, but the Zoysia for the most part looks really good, especially this time of year when there's plenty of heat. So the Zoysia is actively growing. Recognition and Fusilade is good stuff, man. And just as a sidebar, we have 2 kit sizes, because some of you guys were saying, you know, I really don't have a huge lawn. So there's 2 versions of the kit now. There's a smaller one that covers 15,000 square feet. Like we include 2 bottles of Fusilade, the bottle of Recognition, Turf Mark, and then a surfactant. And this concoction, this kit is enough to cover 15,000 square feet. So from a lot of you guys, that's, you know, if you got a 5,000 square foot lawn, that's 3 apps. 7,500 square foot lawn, 2 apps. What I have found is like 2 apps is pretty much all it's going to need, really, in the worst case. Like the first time I applied it, it did like, I mean, when it was done, when it finally started killing off the Bermuda grass, there really wasn't any visible. A few weeks later, I started seeing a little bit of breakthrough. Then the second app cleaned that up, and it's been clean ever since. Like, it looks really good. So I'd say 2 apps for the most part is the worst case scenario that you should really have to do as far as the number of times you have to spray your lawn. Stick to the rates. Like, it does not take very much Recognition or Fusilade to stick to the rates that Syngenta provides. We have them duplicated there in the product description, like under the how to use section. So just follow that, and you'll get great results. Again, I personally have used that concoction on relatively young Zoysia lawn. Like, my lawn's only 3 months old, and when it first got hit with Recognition and Fusilade, it was like just at 2 months old, right? Maybe like 6 weeks to 2 months old, and it just fine, no issues at all. So really good stuff. Okay, next up we have It's Me 2017. It says, oh, also, how do you mow or cut around the green valve covers in the lawn? So here's a fun thing. It's me. I have not had to do that. So Zoysia grows, it creeps so slowly. For the most part, the valve covers are the same way they kind of looked whenever the sod went in. It really hasn't, like Bermuda would have absolutely already been grown over and fully covered it. Like, if you guys looked at videos in the past, you guys would have, you probably didn't even know I had valve covers there, because Bermuda like literally would grow right over it. The Zoysia, it's not really growing over it like Bermuda does. So I haven't really had to do a lot. As far as what I've had, when I am going to take care of it, I'll just probably use a pair of scissors. Like a stick edger doesn't really work well for doing a circle. So just a sharp pair of scissors is what I'll just do to manually trim it whenever it finally does come to that. But again, the Zoysia is not really creeping that fast, so I haven't had to do it. Have not had to do it. Okay, next up is Kevin Duzik. He says, hey, Ron, any advice on new build construction centipede sod? About 4 months old. I want to level, but I don't want to stress the lawn. How long should I wait? Lots of ruts and a sloped lawn. It's okay. So 4 months old is not, I mean, it should be relatively well established by now, Kevin. So if you, in other words, if you wanted to top dress your 4-month-old centipede sod, yes, you could go ahead and do that. Like I always tell folks, whenever you top dress a lawn, is don't go too aggressive. Like, keep the amount of material that you're putting on the lawn between 1/4 of an inch to 1/2 inch. Given that you're on a slope, you're going to want to stay closer to that 1/4 inch, because if you go too heavy, what you're going to find is any large amount of rain that comes is going to wash the sand right off of all the areas you filled in. It's going to make a big mess at the bottom. Okay, so as long as you go light, you're really not going to have an issue with doing that. So again, 4 months old, there really wouldn't be any reason to not do it, in my opinion. Now there's no problem with doing that. Again, my Zoysia is 3 months old. It got top dressed at the end of like month 1. Like it was about a little over a month to the day is when it started seeing some sand, and it was again only a month old, and it was like, let's go. There was no problem at all. So the big thing though is just use common sense. Do not turn the lawn into a beach. It will not go well for you, especially on a sloped lawn. I don't recommend doing it really at any point, but on a sloped lawn, you're just asking for a whole lot of pain and headache if you decide to do that. All right. Okay. Trilla from Manila is up next. He says, past 2 weeks have been crazy, but I'm glad I'm here and back in the lawn. I hope everyone had a wonderful 4th dominating the neighbors. Yeah, man, it's been good. Can't complain. Robert Rainey says, Zoysia is known to have a thick root mat, which discourages moles from tunneling. I see what you did there, Ron. Hey, look, man, it's a funny thing. I have a mole that I'm going to war with in the back lawn. So it's not in the main part of the back lawn, it's going like along the patio. And I got traps out, This one is a high IQ mold. This guy's taken longer to get than I normally takes. So I don't know if he's watched the content. He's probably a viewer. Maybe got a little mold TV down there. He said, "Oh, that's what he did." So first he flooded them out, and then we got Marquise that way. And then like last year they used traps. So what's funny is I think what I need to do, I need to wash the traps, because it's funny if I put the trap in one of their tracks, they don't use he or she or they don't use the tracks for a couple, they stop using it, right? As soon as I remove it and let it sit, like the next day, they go right back to the track again. So maybe there's some scent on the old one that I maybe need to rinse off, and then I'll reset it so I can get him. Because I mean, here's the thing. Eventually, man, he's gonna get got. Eventually, it's gonna happen. I'm just gonna be patient. It's absolutely gonna happen. I mean, he's gonna slip up eventually, and that scissors trap is gonna go. It's gonna get him. It's gonna snap him up. And I will take an unhealthy amount of pleasure when that happens. I've been like chasing this guy now for a couple of weeks. It's taken me longer than I normally would to get a mole. So he must be watching the content. May have to start unlisting a lot of the mole videos or something like that, so I can stop giving up all my secrets. All right, Dustin Betancourt is up next. He says, "I have 3-week-old Tiff Tough Bermuda. I've mowed 3 times and it's not as flat as I'd like. How soon can I scalp and sand?" Okay, she's 3 weeks old. It's not going to be as smooth as you want. It's only 3 weeks old. That's absolutely going to be a thing. I'd say 4 to 6 weeks. You want to put some sand on it? You can. I mean, that's what I did with my Zoysia, and it was absolutely fine. Big thing, Dustin, is don't go too heavy. So 1/4 of an inch to 1/2 inch of material. What that works out to is over 1,000 square feet. About 1 cubic yard of whatever you use for top dressing. I like a blend of sand and soil. Works well for smoothing out those low areas in the lawn without putting too much material out. So 1 cubic yard per 1,000 square feet. You're at 3 weeks old. You probably could do it now if you really wanted to be honest. But if you wanted to give it another couple of weeks before you went out and top dress it, that would be fine too. The only big advice I'd tell you is don't go too heavy. All right? And enjoy it, man. Enjoy the new Tiff Tough. It's a nice grass. It's what Real Rollers has in the turf park, and it is a pretty grass. I get why people like Tiff Tough. Okay, next up is Just Relaxin'. He says, "Hey Ron, what's the best way to deal with pea spots? I'll be sectioning off a section for the dogs. What do you recommend to help the spots that are already there? Thanks." Just time. Time is gonna be your best thing. If you want to do a light top dressing with a compost like carbonized PN, that would be fine, as long as they're not going to go and just re-damage the area again. That's going to help speed up recovery, but it's really just going to be a time thing. Like, fertilizing it a bunch is not really going to do a lot. Just if you want to, a light top dressing, rich compost, carbonized PN is what I would use, and just give it time, and just keep the dogs away from those areas. Like have your one sacrificial part of the lawn and let them go there. And if there's no new injury, over a course of a couple of weeks, depending on the extent of the damage, it'll be just fine. All right. So sorry you're dealing with that, but it's that's the way. That's what I would do. Okay. Next up we have it's me 20 to 17. He says, "Is a scarifier the same thing as verticutting?" No. So scarifying or turf raking, if I still have all of the Allet page, I can actually show you the differences. Maybe. Do I? I do. Okay. So a scarifier or a turf rake are like spring-loaded fingers that look like that, and they're really useful for gently cleaning debris out of the turf. It's a gentle way for cleaning trash out of the lawn, right? So this is something you can do relatively as often as you want for the most part. A verticutter is a way of vertically mowing, kind of like what it sounds like. You can see instead of it being a spring-loaded, like light spring-loaded fingers, verticutter is a solid blade, tightly spaced, and it's literally going to vertically mow, or vertically cut the lawn. It's more aggressive than turf raking / scarifying, and it's my preferred way of thinning out the lawn throughout the season to help improve the cut quality as just as the lawn thickens up from real mowing. And so that's the difference between the two. They don't actually look similar. They're very different in what they will accomplish in a lawn. It's me. Okay. Next up is James Bartholomew. He says, I got a low-key compliment on my 419 yesterday. You gotta love that. He says, caught on my camera. The Amazon guy stopped and rubbed his hand on it and nodded his head in appreciation. He's like, good looking lawn. He says, it was a proud moment in my golf course lawn journey. You gotta love that, man, because when you don't even ask an unsolicited compliment, which, this person didn't know this, they're being watched. They just appreciate a nice stand of turf grass. You got to enjoy that. You got to enjoy that. They are seeing the fruits of all your labor. So that's pretty cool. Congrats. Mr. 600R says, I have dollar spots in the front, but not the back. Have Zoysia. I bag the clippings and I don't cut the front and back on the same day. What recommendations do you have to eliminate the dollar spots? Okay, so again, it's really not going to it should not cause damage on a Zoysia or Bermuda lawn if it's getting enough nitrogen. The way that what I've done to reduce the amount of dollar spot, or even seeing the mycelium, the little spider webs on my lawn early in the morning, when I started verticutting the lawn and turf raking it, meaning I just minimized the amount of debris that just ended up in the lawn, my disease issues went away, and also the amount of dollar spot, the amount of little spider webs that you see in the lawn, also there's like a drastic reduction. So if you can introduce regular like monthly verticutting and or turf raking to your lawn care program, that is going to reduce it. But that's not the primary reason why I would do it. I mean, the benefits, the reason to verticut your lawn is not to prevent dollar spot. It's a side benefit of doing that. But it's, for most people, I just say, just don't really even worry about it, because it doesn't really turn into anything if you're feeding your lawn properly. You know what I mean? So it's your call. But if you want to go through, if you wanted to reduce the amount that you're going to have in your lawn, introduce the cultural practices of verticutting and turf raking, and you will see less dollar spot and really just a lot of other diseases in your lawn. Like mushrooms, you'll see less mushrooms in your lawn if you do that. All right. But that's not the main reason to do it. So hope that helps, sir. I mean, you can also throw a fungicide at it, like some propaganazole will also work as well too. But again, on the Bermuda lawn, Zoysia lawn, in most cases, really not necessary. Okay. Off-Road NV is up next. He says, hey, Ron, I hope your summer is going well. It's hot, but it's been going all right, man. He says, it's 94 degrees here in Reno, Nevada. My grass is at 3/4 of an inch and looking good. California trimmer catalyst. Nice. Very cool. I like it. Looking good. Let's see here. Jimmy Miller says, evening, Ron, I emailed you some photos earlier. Not sure if I'm dealing with drought issues or brown spot. I finally got some rain last night, 2.5 inches. After 2 to 3 weeks without any rain. I have to check it after the show, Jimmy, because like about an hour before, I go through email and get everything queued up. I may have to answer your question, email you back after the show, because I'm scrolling here. Like I see a picture here from Lance F that he sent me that I guess that's you. Whoever, Offered Envy. I think that's Lance. I see that, but I don't see anything I don't see anything from you, Jimmy. All right, I'll check it out after the show. All right, you want to see another great lawn? Just scrolling through email. This is Lance F's lawn. He just sent me a picture I just saw in email. Gotta love that. America, stripe action, looking good. Gotta love it. Next up is Ted Rogers. He says, adding adjuvants can help with post-emergent applications. Yes, I agree with that, Ted. Pretty much, unless the label says to not use one. So like with Velocity PM, which is like the herbicide that you would use for removing Poa annua and Poa trivialis in like a ryegrass, fescue, and if you're lucky, some cultivars of Kentucky bluegrass. Like this is particularly says, do not use surfactant with, like, do not mix, don't pretty much water and the product. Don't do anything else but that. But for the most part, most other products will either say you can use an adjuvant like a spreader sticker or a methylated seed oil, depending on what you're trying to accomplish. And yeah, so I'm with you, Ted. I'm a huge fan of spray adjuvants whenever I'm using post-emergent herbicides, because it really makes a big difference in the effectiveness. All right, Lizzie Love says, good evening, Ron. Any tips for perennial ryegrass seeding for Bermuda dormancy? Yeah, so I guess the thing I'd tell you, Lizzie, is know what you're signing up for. So the idea of having a lawn that is green when everyone else's lawn is dormant, Sounds pretty cool. It is it is quite a bit of work as far as all the prep work you need to do and getting the ryegrass to grow in. You're also going to be committing to mowing during the fall and winter, so that's something you have to be prepared for as well too. You can be mowing pretty much year round. And then the thing that most people don't realize is when springtime rolls around, like late March, early April, when the ryegrass is actually looking its absolute best, you're going to want to use a selective herbicide like Celsius to get rid of it. Because if you don't do that, what it's going to do is it's going to stunt the Bermuda coming out of dormancy. Like the ryegrass is going to work against the Bermuda, and you're going to end up with a lawn that's just not going to look very good come like late May, June timeframe. So as long as you're good with all of that, regular mowing throughout the fall and winter, and that whenever it's looking its absolute best, like again, normally around like late March, early April timeframe, you're going to want to get rid of it using a selective herbicide. If you're good with all that, then yeah, you could absolutely go out and do a ryegrass overseed on Bermuda. Just know what you're getting into is what I would tell you. Like most people that I've seen do it, like it's funny. I have not come across any viewers anyway, that have done it 2 years in a row. Like Robert's done it, and his looks spectacular. It looks incredible. But then this past winter, he didn't do it. So I kind of think that the idea is that you do it, you get the novelty out of your system. But then when you realize that your Bermuda is going to take longer to come out of dormancy, and you literally have to get rid of the ryegrass when it's looking its best, it's just something that not a lot of people want to really sign up for. So give it a shot if you want. Give it a shot. It's not going to hurt anything to do it, this fall if you want to. And then, if you can decide if it's something you want to do every year. Most people, it's not. All right, next up is Lex is Mortem. He says, is there a Bermuda grass seed you would recommend? From what I can tell, Arden 15 and Princess 77 don't seem to be available anymore. Yeah, so, Yukon is popular these days. What I would tell you is this. If it were me, if I were doing a Bermuda lawn, if I were establishing a new Bermuda lawn now, I would not use grass seed. While the improved Bermuda, improved common cultivars like Yukon can look nice, like Celebration, Tiff Tuff, Tahoma 31 are much prettier grasses in my opinion. The leaf blade is finer, the color is finer, they have better cold tolerance. And if you look at Michael Thomason's lawn, he's been giving us updates on, like, this is Tahoma 31. That color is incredible. Looks really, really great, right? And that's a relatively new lawn. It's not even really found its way in the world yet, and it still looks great. So if it were me, I would sod. I really would. I would go with sod versus doing Bermuda lawn from grass seed. If you decide you want to do it anyway, look into Yukon or call the folks at Hancock Seed. I think they're in Lakeland, Florida, and just ask them what you recommend based on where you are in the country and the goals that you have for your lawn. All right. All right. Lance F says, thanks, Ron. Your info products have made this happen. Sent your pics. Yeah, man. Thanks so much, Lance. I just showed the folks. So the information and the program, and I got to tell you, man, strap action is on point. The color looks really good. I don't care who you are. I think most folks would enjoy a lawn like that. So another picture, a little close up. Let me see if I can get the first one gone. So yeah, overall, looking good. Color looks good. Stripes look good. Looks like your mower's nice and sharp. Looking solid. Keep it up. Keep going. Keep going. All right. Next up is Ted Rogers. He said, that whole backlash education made me scared of real mowing. I was completely lost. It's okay. So that just means I'm a bad teacher. Ted, is all that means. It's not as complicated as it sounds. Think of it. A real mower is like using a pair of scissors, right? Think of it as one. If you think of a pair of scissors, one part of the scissors, like we move both of them to cut paper. Imagine that one of the scissors blades just sits still, like it's stationary. That's called the bed knife. And the other, like that you would normally on a real scissors, you would press and they would kind of like scissor or like slide across each other to cut the paper in this case, or grass in this case, is on a reel, right? So the first half of the scissors is the bed knife and the other half is on the reel. And what you want to do, what I was talking about, is the distance or how much contact there is between the fixed blade and the reel. You want to minimize that contact. Like you will cause a lot of wear, heat if the contact is too heavy. And backlapping is a way of like putting a fresh edge, like freshening up the edge between the reel and the bed knife. So it's really not complicated. It's It's not complicated. It's not. If you had a real mower, you would absolutely. It would take you like 5 minutes to figure out how to do it. It's not tough at all. I just did not probably a great job explaining it. Is what I would tell you. And I'll tell you, man, real mowing is fun. It's fun. You should come over. You should come over to the dark side. It's tons of fun. Although your fescue, I can get it if you don't want to. Your fescue lawn looks pretty incredible. So I would understand if you did not want to move to real mowing. All right, next up is No Name. He says, hey, Ron and fellow lawn enthusiasts, tried finishing cutting the yard before the rain hit, but 75% done. Hope everything is going well and love the lawn chat. You could send some rain this way, No Name. We don't have any up here in Northeast Georgia, so it's still dry outside. So you got rain, some inform the forecast, send some up here. Would really appreciate it. Okay, next up is Asian Dad. He says, it appears maintaining a lawn is an ongoing task. Despite investing a significant amount of money, my lawn never seems to be perfect. There's always something that needs attention. Yeah, what you said is exactly right. Like I've said it multiple times in the live stream. I have about a 3-week period throughout the entire year when I can say I'm really happy with my lawn. This looks really good. I'm really proud of this. And that's normally the end of May into the first week of June. That's, in my opinion, when my lawn, the Bermuda part of my lawn anyway, looks best. The Zoysia is looking pretty good the entire time. So, I mean, the Zoysia might become the king of like consistency as far as looking nice throughout the entire season. But that's what makes it fun. It's the chase. The fact that you are constantly working on it. There's always something to improve. There's a lot, if you think about it, the lawn is like most things in life, right? There's not many things in life that you go out and you fix and you get it to be perfect and it stays that way, right? You get something to a certain degree of proficiency, or you get it to where you like it and you're just kind of enjoying it while it's like that, but it's going to change over time. So like for you guys that don't know, like I also, like a big part of my life is also martial arts, and a lot of why I enjoy lawn care is the same reason that I enjoy martial arts. Like you can do a form, 100 times, 1,000 times, and there's always something you can do better. There's always some small aspect that can be improved, and that's what makes it fun. It's always the chase. It's not so much achieving a perfect lawn. It's the journey. It's the process that you really have to enjoy. That's why when most people ask me, hey, I want to get a lawn just like yours, what I have to do to do it, I said, well, you really have to enjoy working in your lawn. You have to enjoy the process. And it's more, if you enjoy the process more so than getting compliments from people or having a lawn that looks really spectacular, which that's going to happen. That's going to be like a byproduct of it. But if you just enjoy the process of always having something going on, like my lawn was looking really good, and what happens? A mole comes in. Like Marquis' cousin has now come in the lawn, and he's gonna, he wants to show out and make a mess of my lawn. There's always something going on, right? And that's what makes it fun. It makes it fun. It's a constant chase. So yeah, I guess you have to just figure out for you if it's something you enjoy, and maybe you can find out what window your particular lawn looks as absolute best, and just embrace that. Like you think about it, like look at Augusta National, which if you've never been, even if you don't like golf, if you're a lawn care nerd, if you like grass, you should visit Augusta National at some point. Even if you go there during like a practice round, it's absolutely worth going, because when you look at that course on TV, like, and I know it sounds kind of cliche, but TV just doesn't remotely do it justice. Like the grass just looks, it's like, I always tell folks, imagine the best grass you've ever seen in your entire life, and it's better than that. And if you think about it, Augusta Nationals, they've got, they've got in pretty much a limited budget, they have like the best equipment, the best people working on it. And they still do the tournament in April, because that's when ryegrass, because the course is really Bermuda, what you see on TV is Bermuda overseas with ryegrass. And the reason why, part of the reason why the tournament is held then is because ryegrass looks absolutely amazing in late March, early April, which is when the Masters is held, right? If you want to see, like during COVID, there was a thing, I think they moved it to October one time. I think during one of the years, I forget which year it was, but they moved it to then, and it still looked good, but it looked like it looked in April, right? So even with a lawn or a property where you have unlimited budget, unlimited resources, the best people, like grass still has a period of time when just naturally it just looks its absolute best, right? So even with them, they still pick the time when, naturally this is when ryegrass in Georgia, this is when it's gonna look really good, is we're gonna do our tournament right then, So combined with everything else we got, our budget, our equipment, we're gonna make a stand of turf grass that no one's gonna be able to touch, right? And so I'd say just looking at that, take that to realize that your lawn is not going to be any different. Your lawn's going to have a period of the year where it's not going to look great. It's going to be struggling. You're going to have a period of the year where it looks really, really good, and just live for that. Just work up to that and enjoy it when it's there. And when it's gone, and next year it'll be back. Right? That's what I would tell you. All right. So next up is Justin King. He said, actually, I'm not going to put your comment up because I really don't want people using that product, that one of the herbicides you mentioned, because it's not labeled for use on residential lawns. So I don't really want to like talk about it too much, but yeah, that combination, is pretty effective against Dallisgrass, but you're not supposed to use it on residential lawns. So there you go. No Name says, yeah, oof, revolver is pricey. Yeah, right. I'll stick to hand pulling and digging out. That's what I would recommend. And then Ted Rogers is weighing in. He says a paintbrush with glyphosate on it. That's also an option too. But you got to be really careful because you can damage the surrounding grass, or you could just dig it out. I don't understand. Why is everyone so opposed to just digging it out? It's almost like we have to spray something on the lawn. Like digging it out is a completely valid way of doing this. You know what I mean? So Ted was like, that was intentional, 100%. Justin King says on purpose. Devin's like, what's up, Ron? Looking forward to some good turf talk. Hopefully it's been pretty good so far, Devin. Appreciate you coming by to say hi. So for any of you guys that have not been here the entire time and wonder what they're talking about. So Oliver sent us some video. He just had his lawn top dressed, right? And it got assaulted really twice. So the first was by an F-150. This person, I don't know what they were doing. They're trying to back out of a straight driveway. It appears to be straight, and they go forward, backwards. And the last time they back up and literally back right over the area of the lawn that was top dress. But you know what? It could happen. It could happen because you know what? There's not much contrast there. You know, you might not be able to make out that that part of the lawn was just top dress. You might not see it. Fine, right? But then you have exhibit like CRV where the lawn is clearly there's chili grass there. You've got a ton of driveway, and yet they do the Scandinavian flick on the man's lawn. They literally turn right to go turn left. And I'm with you guys. I am having a difficult time seeing how that was not an intentional act. I think that, you know, we, the lawn care jury, have weighed in that the CRV, that was definitely done intentionally. It was not, is not an accident. The other one, the F-150, I mean, I could maybe see it, but this, nope. I don't get it. Like I said, if they had turned right and kept going right, you'd say, okay, they just not a great driver. But the fact they turn right and they turn left, like they was like a hit on the lawn. It was done. It was on purpose. I agree with you guys. Ted was like, that was a bitter baby mama. You know what? That is kind of that. I can see that. She'd be like, you know what? He doesn't really care about. Maybe it's not the money. I'm gonna hit him where it really hurts. This man loves his grass more than anything else in the world. I'm gonna show him. Could be, very well could be. That is that's definitely personal. It's definitely personal. I would say that, Ted. He says, a new business idea, lawn spikes for the edging of your yard made of steel. You could do that, but you're going to end up, man, the amount of headache you would bring into your life, because someone's going to run over it and they're going to want to, come after you and be like, oh no, my spike, you had debris in your lawn. It got like a spike, a flat tire and blah, blah, blah. And even though they were on your property, you probably don't want to do that. Probably the wrong way. It's going to create more headache in your life than I believe then it's going to solve. So I would not go that route. Just video it and just put it on the internet and show everybody, hey, look, my lawn was driven over by people that have it in for me. All right, Evan D. Onfrio says, palmetto sod laid in South Florida in March, looking great until about a week ago. I have a 10 by 10 area, yellow and thin. Weather of 85 to 90 degrees for months. Water every day at 5 a.m. Nothing new added. Any thoughts? Well, it's hot, man. It's hot. It could very much just be a temperature thing is what's happening. You didn't tell me what you're doing for nutrient. For water, it sounds like you're putting enough water on it. If you're watering it every day, it's probably too much. But it'd be nice to know if you're fertilizing the lawn and what that program looks like. So if sounds like it's getting enough water, it might actually be getting too much. But if you're getting enough sunlight and you are fertilizing the lawn properly, it should look pretty good. So water, I think, is covered. I would look into whatever you're doing for fertilizer. All right. All right. Next up, we have Lewis P86. How much rain did your area accumulate? We received over a foot in a large part of the tropical storm. Around here, nothing. I'm not sure where you are, but here in Northeast Georgia, it's dry outside. It's not raining at all right now. So nothing, nada. Daniel Sebastiani says, "Hey Ron, happy Friday. Is it okay to mix propiconazole with PGR to do a foliar app? Thanks." I've never done that, Daniel. You'd have to test it. I'm sure someone has sprayed growth regulator and fungicide. I'm inclined to think it would be okay, but I've never done it myself. I've never actually tested that myself to be able to know how well it would work. So probably okay, but I can't say. I'm not speaking from experience. Oliver Rhythm says, "Yeah, Ron, sigh. Yeah, dude, I don't know, dude. They did you dirty, man. I mean, the truck, was it the person, were they with the company that was doing the top dressing? But yeah, the CRV was not good. I mean, maybe Lance called, maybe Ted called it, man. I mean, baby mama drama, ex-girlfriend, family member doesn't like you, someone that isn't, maybe someone whose birthday party you didn't go to and they wanted to get back at you, so they drove over your lawn. I don't know, man, because that looks pretty intentional." All right, Daniel is up next. He says, "I forgot to ask, I have some bare spots in my Xeon Zoysia. If I apply PGR, will it help it fill in quicker or not?" It might help some, but Zoysia is going to take its sweet time, man. On my lawn, the 3 months that I've had it, I have found that the top growth, like growing tall with Zoysia, that is slower than Bermuda, but it actually grows, faster than I expected. What is slower is the lateral spread. So if you want to use an application of growth regulator that's correct for your for Zoysia, it's going to be 1/4 ounce per 1,000 if you're only doing it once per month, or like 0.13 ounces if you're doing it every 2 weeks. That's how I would go about it if you're going to go do that. It will likely help some, but Zoysia is just a slow growing grass. It just, as far as like lateral spread, it's just really slow. So will it help? Yes. Is it going to be material? Probably not. We got a Cash App. Thank you so much for that, John. I really do appreciate it. $25. I appreciate all the love and support, sir. And then next up, we got Justin King. He said, "Palisades Zoysia is all I can find around here in central Oklahoma." It's not a bad choice. I mean, Palisades, it's a nice Zoysia. It's Zoysia, so it can look quite nice. Timothy Gonzalez is up next. He says, "Hey, Ron, I got hit pretty hard in some areas with winter kill or spring dead spot. Lawn is spreading back into those areas, but I'm wondering, is there a way to prevent this next year? Thanks." Yeah, so if you have a Bermuda lawn, spring dead spot can absolutely be your nemesis. That can absolutely be a thing. So the way that I have found to reduce it next year is a twofold approach. Thing one is limit nitrogen inputs as we get further into the fall. So early October is the latest that I would really do any granular nitrogen inputs in your lawn if you're trying to minimize conditions that can lead to spring dead spot. If you want to do foliar sprays at low rates, that would be okay. But as far as like granular nitrogen, meaning you're building up N levels in the soil, not something that I would do as you get later into the fall. The second thing would be to apply fungicide. So if you look at our program for lawn care product applications on the Golf Course Lawn Store, if you go to resources and let me see, lawn care schedule, and then scroll down here, you'll see that we recommend applying fungicides at 2 different times of the year, or two different times. One is in May, June, to help prevent large patch, a lot of the diseases that tend to be a problem as the humidity, as temperatures start going up, and we still have the humidity from a lot of the rainfall you get during the springtime. And the second time when we recommend fungicide apps are in October and November. So you see here the first fall fungicide app, Pillar SC or Headway, depending on whether you like granular or liquid. And then finally in November, Headway G or Pillar SC again. And if you do that, reduce the amount of nitrogen that you put into the soil later in the fall, and also do preventative fungicide applications, that is going to reduce the amount of spring dead spot that you will be contending with the following year, which is why you notice the last time we really recommend fertilizer is October, and that's using a 12% nitrogen product, relatively low rates, and then November, nothing. So if you do that, again, limit the amount of N that you're putting into the soil, and also do preventative fungicide app, that's going to do a lot for helping reduce the amount of spring dead spot you have to deal with, because spring dead spot really stinks. I mean, I don't want to have any disease in my lawn, but even some light large patch would be less bad than spring dead spot, because large patch you can clear up in a couple of weeks if you catch it really early. But like spring dead spot, you could be, depending on how bad it is, could be like well into June before the grass really begins spreading into those bare areas and filling in. So it's one you really want to avoid, and the fall is the time to do it, Timothy. Okay, let's see here. Jay Tee It Up says, I bought the Fusillade recognition kit from the Golf Course Lawn Store, and I will testify as to the effectiveness of these products in killing Bermuda in Zoysia. It works. It's an awesome combination. It's like the Celsius certainty of removing Bermuda out of a Zoysia lawn. Like literally the Bermuda dies off, which is, again, that's an accomplishment. To kill Bermuda, not easy. And the Zoysia, again, as long as you stick to the rates, it for the most part doesn't really, I mean, it may lose a little bit of color, but I mean, my lawn, I didn't really see anything. It looked great. Zoysia nothing happened, and the Bermuda was like, why? And it died. It was gone. So yeah, it's really good. The folks at Syngenta did a really good job with that combo. I can't say enough good things about it. All right, Gomez is up next. He says, when I laid down my Tiff Tuff, I put out some peat moss. Is that something I need to be adding? I don't hear anyone talking about peat or other products filling that need, biochar and the like. Yeah, so if you were doing a lawn from seed, I could see using peat moss as a way to help retain moisture. But as far as a sodded lawn, a lawn that's being established by sod, no, I wouldn't do peat moss. Like if I were going to establish a new lawn from sod, like I can tell you what I did on my Zoysia lawn. So I would get the grade as smooth as possible. I would do a good starter fertilizer. In my case, I used the 14-7-14. That's what I use on the front lawn for the Zoysia. I would also do a fungicide application. Reason being is you're going to be watering a lot. So you put Zoysia sod in. I was watering 3 times a day for several weeks, right? Like I was getting a lot of water. So as a way to have like relatively cheap insurance to prevent the chances of you having a disease problem, a fungicide app whenever you're putting in sod is not a bad idea. Now Bermuda may not be as necessary because Bermuda doesn't take nearly as long to establish as Zoysia. Within a couple of weeks, Bermuda's gonna be looking pretty good, but it's relatively, if you think about what you're spending versus the problem that you're heading off, it's almost like a no-brainer. Like doing a fungicide app at the time of a sod installation, given the amount of water you're putting out, is always going to be, in my opinion, a great idea. But peat moss, not something that I would necessarily do with sod. With seed, yes, but with sod, not really necessary. I'd say Gomez. All right, J Rose says, I sent a picture and email about a pool I just pulled up and to see what it looks like. I may have to find it after the show. Jay, I don't see any email from you. So yeah, and I don't see anything came through. So the pictures you sent may have been too big. So you may have to just make them smaller and email them. But I will answer it after the show if you email me again. All right. And let's see here. Next up, he says, the only option I see is amending tilling, just a different place than yards with soil. Thoughts? Thanks and happy Friday. Okay, so you have a lawn, a soil that's basically all clay, and I guess you're trying to correct that. And you see the only option you see is to amend tilling. Yeah, so you could. What I would say is this, Jay. You could, instead of tilling, which is fairly aggressive, you could do an aggressive aerate. So like run an aerator, like multiple passes over the lawn, like really beat it up, and then top dress it with a combination of soil and compost. So like a 70-30 blend, like that's going to do a lot for improving the negative aspects of having a heavy clay soil. Like clay is, I mean, like it's a bad rap, but clay's actually got some pretty good benefits to it. Like it holds a lot of water, holds moisture, it holds nutrient better than sandy soil does. But the problem is that it can get compacted easier. As far as drainage, not as good as like a sandy loam. So a way we can help kind of get the best of both worlds is aerate heavily and then top dress the lawn with a blended leveling mix. So like some sand, 70% sand, some compost. You're still going to retain a lot of the benefits of clay soil, but it's going to drain a lot better. That is what I would do for me versus tilling and putting out just straight compost and just tilling that into the soil profile. It's less aggressive and I think it's going to improve or get the results that you're after as far as improving the negative aspects of having like a heavy clay lawn. All right. And you said email was from a couple of days ago. Yeah, I have to look for it and see if I find it because I don't recall seeing it, Jay. But yeah, if what you said in the email is what I just discussed, you got your answer. Like I would not till it. I would heavily aerate and then top dress. All right. Johnny Gorney says, I'm also finding Dallisgrass. It's coming after you, but I'm making gains. Dig it out, man. Dig it out. My neighbor's front lawn and back is nothing but Dallisgrass. Well, I mean, so they got a Dallisgrass lawn. All right. I guess it's something. It's green. It's green. Dallisgrass is a nasty one. It's so bad that I have some friends that own like a spray business, and he literally will not take on lawns that have Dallisgrass in them because it's just, there's not an easy way to get rid of it in a residential lawn. That's cost effective for him, if that makes sense. And so next up, we got Mr. Andre Taylor. What's up, everyone? Happy Friday. What's going on, Andre? Ray Ross says, great show as always, Ron. Thank you so much, Ray. I appreciate you. I appreciate you, man. And then we got Michael Thomason. He says, I'm like you. Love to mow. Could do it every day. I am retired from being an EMS pilot, so the lawn is my hobby. That's a good thing, man. If you got a lot of time, and for me, like mowing the lawn is not work. Like edging, work. Shrubs, work. Mowing, not work. Like I do some of my best thinking when I'm out on the lawn. I may put a podcast on, or if there's some problem I'm just trying to solve, I'll just won't even put anything on. I'll just like have my headphones on, or just like have like my noise canceling so it's not as loud, and just think while I'm mowing the lawn. It's like very zen-like. So I know it's weird. It's my thing, right? Some people play music, some people play golf, some folks mow their lawn, right? It's a thing. And our last comment of the evening comes from Mr. Johnny Gorney. He says, I do spoon feeding. Is it too much to do the 22-3 micronutrient, kelp, release 0, and primo in the same 4-gallon application? My water ratio is going down while the nutrients are increasing. No, so as long as you are, so if you're doing the 22-3, the micronutrient at reduced levels, reduced amounts, and then the release 0 carbon kit, which is what you described, that would be fine. That's what I do on my lawn. So yeah, there's no issue with that. I mean, you're doing like a 1/10 of a pound of nitrogen, and you're getting all the biostimulants. So yes, there's no problem with doing that. No issue at all, Johnny. All right. Well, guys, gals, on that bombshell, looks like that is about it for the evening. I will cue the outro music. So, although we are in July, we have less great hot days ahead of us than we do behind us. There's still plenty of time for that lawn care project. So if you were on the fence about doing a top dress, you still got time to get that done. I will probably do another one on the Zoysia this season. You know, here's the problem. I put it to Instagram. I was like, what do you guys think? Should I top dress the Zoysia one more time? And of course, Devin and all the usual suspects, the one that like to see me suffer, are like saying, yeah, man, go for it. So I think I'm going to actually do that. So we'll see if I can get a bag of Super Solids level mix and make that my project for next week, right? Get the Zoysia looking as good as possible. Although, as we all know, it's never, ever going to be fully perfect. Well, guys, thank you guys so much for coming to hang out. As always, you know, we have a full assortment of fertilizer, fungicide, post-mortem herbicides, whatever you happen to need to get your lawn looking its absolute best, to create a lawn that your neighbors are absolutely going to envy at the Golf Course Lawn Store. We would love the opportunity to earn your business. If you guys are going to be working on the lawn this weekend, make sure you hydrate. It is hot out there. Enjoy the process, and we will see you guys next week. Have an amazing weekend. Take care.